Hey, what is up, guys? Flex Media here, bringing you yet another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And I am going to be grinding this Prime Battle. I still need a few hundred more medals. Been not necessarily lazy about it, just not nearly as amped as I was for a lot of these other Prime Battle units. And it's not because I hate Krillin or anything. It's nothing personal to Krillin at all. I actually quite enjoy the unit. I don't know. Just sometimes I gotta get in the zone to grind these Prime Battles, and I wasn't there, but now I am. But anyway, this whole video, I'm gonna be, providing intermittent commentary here, possibly if we need to. Grinding these Prime Battles are kind of mindless activities, to be honest with you. It's so easy to just simply blitz through all of these, levels, whether it's the first stage or the third. We're probably going to be able to one-turn this dude every single time, or close to it. But this is a story. So if you guys are interested, go ahead. Number one, slap a like on the video. I am trying to bring you guys content every single day. And if not, then it's usually like 6 days a week. But here's the deal. This is the story of my stone vendor, my one and only stone vendor experience. I've been trying to come up with an appropriate sort of medium to kind of broadcast this. And I guess, my YouTube channel is probably it. I had a video a long time ago, back in the day, like one of the very first videos on my channel, and I decided to take it down because it was right after it happened. So I was a little upset, but now that I've had sort of a lot of time to reflect on the incident, I feel, a lot better about sort of what happened. I mean, it was still horribly upsetting at the time. But anyway, I want to kind of go over this whole story with you. So again, buckle up, get some popcorn, get some coffee, do what you got to do to get comfortable, because, this is an act in 3 parts. So I want to kind of go over Act 1 with you guys. Okay, so Part 1, it begins June 16th, 2019. And essentially this was my first inquiry. I'll go ahead and just leave it here. We'll still be able to get through it with this, wacky sort of wonky team. But that was my first sort of interaction with this particular website. So as you guys know, June 16th, it's almost basically an entire year ago, almost to the day that this happened. I started inquiring because it was getting close to the anniversary. Like, yo, I could really use some stones, for, and I'm obviously looking for the best deal possible. And, okay, so June 16th, I inquire. And sorry, the services are down. This is very typical of stone vendors. They're up for like 1 or 2 days, and then they're down. Up for, and then they'll be up for 1 or 2 days, and they'll be down for a week or 2, or down for a month or 2. And then after a while, what started happening is they started not basically ever coming back. So if you can find stone vendors, number one, I hope that you listen to this story first before you go looking for them, but it's going to be rare, and they're only going to be up for a few days at a time before they sort of shut down services again. I don't exactly know why. I don't know the exact process of how it goes. From my understanding, there's a few ways that these companies do it. The first way is they transfer your account, so you have to give them all of your account information, and they have to transfer your account to essentially like 100 different mobile devices. Not 100, it depends on how many stones you want, but let's just say several. And then they get all the sales, and then they transfer you to another account or another mobile device, and then they get all the sales, and then that process continues until your stone order is complete, right? So from my understanding, that's one way they do it. Another way they do it is, and these are probably the skeezier companies, where they'll, essentially they'll purchase a bunch of Google Play gift cards, and somehow they're able to like return them or something like that. So they end up making a lot of money on that when they do it sort of, not even sort of, it's illegal. I mean, you're straight up being fraudulent. You're stealing. So, but anyway, that's another way they do it. I don't think a lot of companies do that, but I have heard of them doing that. So that just to kind of, give you guys context of what we're talking about. That's what kind of a stone vendor does. They try to get you things on the cheap, right? That's what they're trying to do. So anyway, June 26th, they let me know that, hey, dude, our services are back up, right? So the services are back up. I don't get back to them until June 28th. Guess what? Big surprise, services are down again. They're only up for iOS. Okay, well, perfect. That's not going to work, As you guys may or may not know, if you're ever transferring accounts or you're transferring your account somewhere else, if you're transferring between an iOS and an Android device, you lose your stones, or vice versa, of course. So as long as it is, through the same, service or whatever, you're going to be fine. But if you're trying to transfer between iOS and Android, you're going to lose the remainder of your stones on your account, just the way, the software is set up, I imagine. So anyway, June 28th, they go down again. Now, this goes on. I kind of have like some brief correspondence with the, actually I found out later it was a lady. I thought at the time it was a gentleman, but, with this lady, a young woman, and she says, hey, August 23rd, services are back up. Now, if you guys are familiar, this is right in the midst. We're right sort of nearing the tail end of the 300 million downloads celebration. So, the Gohan and the Cell banners, they're still up, but the 3+1s are done. So at this point, we have the LR Androids up. Now, your boy, again, I do have screenshots to prove this, I think, somewhere. But your boy was insanely lucky. Probably the luckiest I've ever been on a legendary summon banner. I believe that was the first banner I ever pulled the main featured LR, and I pulled them 3 times. 3 times in 350 stones. And I pulled several other LRs, as I recall. So I just had like the most god level, like Goresh style luck, right? Like when he summoned on the androids, he had that god level luck. I was on track, like maybe not quite as good, but almost as good, right? So I had this god level luck. I had already summoned, but at the time I'm like, well, you know what? I'll go ahead and go through with it because I inquired and I should get this deal while I can, right? Because these services are so seldom up, right? They're usually down. So August 23rd, your boy picks up a 540 stone pack. So the order is in. Okay, so August 24th, after the order has already been placed, guess what? Service is down again. Like not necessarily my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is yet to come. But, not a really great situation. So now I'm in this position where I'm like, well, I could be waiting as little as 1 week or like 3 months for these services to be back up again. Like, you just don't know with these things. Like, I'm not like deep in the game. Like, I never really got deep in the game. This is my one and only experience with them, right? So I really don't know where the fate lies. You know what I mean? I know that this company is reputable, as reputable as you can be for a stone vendor. I know a lot of bigger tubers use them, so I felt very confident, like, okay, it's not really a big deal, that they'll get it to me when the services are back up again. So I didn't really think anything of it. I just had to be patient, right, to get my 540 stones. So had, a little bit more correspondence with this young woman, and, basically, sorry, I don't know when, sorry, I don't know when. Okay, no big deal. So September 19th. Now, in the meantime, what you have to do, because there's such a limited amount of time where these services are up, where they can actually figure things out, technologically speaking. Okay, this is weird. I guess we'll just do that. So technologically speaking, there's a very, very brief window that they can use. So September 9th, so essentially what that means is I had to give them, I had to unlink my account from Facebook, which is obviously never a great idea, right? Just in general, like that was during a time where you could use transfer codes. Like the transfer code thing is relatively recent, just I don't know what, maybe 5-6 months ago, something, they got rid of transfer codes. RIP have a high, right? All of his account giveaways. But anyway, so you have to unlink your account from Facebook, and then, you know, essentially they take it from there. And that means that they sort of have free access to your account, which is, you know, fine. Again, I'm not real stressed about it because they're such a reputable company, a very, very big company. You know, I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to put them on blast necessarily. I'm not trying to ruin anyone's business or anything. Even on my very small platform, you know, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do that. So I'm just talking about my own personal experience. I'm sure lots of people have had positive experiences. But anyway, getting back to it. So September 19th at roughly 4:32 in the morning. What had happened was actually I fell asleep playing. I think I was grinding Easy A's at the time because all the Easy A's were up. I think I was grinding Kid Boo's Easy A's, I recall, because it's very easy to grind that one. And all of a sudden, so I wake up, I turn on my phone, and I get a message because Dokkan was the last app that was up. I got a message on the actual app, and it says, account successfully transferred. And then in the meantime, like I look and I've got 100 different sort of, you know, notifications, and on my it was through Facebook Messenger, I believe we were you know, speaking or chatting or what have you, and basically said, hey, you know, we're good to go. The stones are on your account. You should be able to log in. Here's the transfer code. Blah 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 blah. So not too big a deal, right? I'm very pleased. So now I'm going to be ahead of the game. Right now I don't have to worry about stones for a while. So anyway, guys, that is sort of the end of part one of this story. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sort of move on to part two because it's where it starts to get a little dicey, a little juicy. Okay, so part two, this is sort of where part two begins. It begins when I woke up. So after all of those things I just sort of mentioned happened, I woke up and I messaged them and I said, hey, I can't log into my account. Like, you have any idea what's going on? You know, gave me a few different directions as to what I could do. Like, oh, you know, maybe you need to just reset the app. This happens all the time. Oh, okay, you know, whatever. I'll reset the app. Fine. So essentially what happened was it kept going back to the just original screen when you first download the game where it takes you to the tutorial. So that had told me that my account actually had not been transferred back to me. And the transfer code was not working. It was saying, I forget the exact message it was saying, but essentially it was saying like account, what did it say? Essentially, you know, not to this is minutia, right? But essentially it said you can't log into your account. Okay, great. So now I've told them this. They've given me a few ideas. Okay, sorry, buddy, basically this is where I started to kind of get a little salty, okay, at this point. So it says, sorry, buddy, you're going to have to go through account recovery with Bandai. If you guys know anything about that, it is an extremely slow process. Now, once it sort of gets going and you've already started your correspondence with Bandai, not too bad. It's not horrible. You know, they're getting back to you once a day, but to get that initial inquiry and for them to do that initial investigation takes about a week. You know, maybe like 5 days or something like that. So I can just tell you, so September 19th, this all went down, again, of 2019. September 25th, I get a response, and I'm thinking, oh my God, thank God, like they found my account. This is, you know, finally, you know, whatever. And they said, we're reviewing the inquiry, essentially. Like, so they have to sort of re-review the information that they've been provided. In the meantime, if you guys are unfamiliar with the process, to spare you a lot of the gory details, you have to, you know, enter your you know, your name and your, you know, mobile device and like any single character you can think of on your account with the amount of dupes and all of those things. You know, a lot of us do know those things offhand, unless you're a noob, right? A lot of us know how many dupes you have in certain TURs and LRs and stuff like that. So that wasn't too big of a deal. It was a little bit of an arduous process, but not a big deal in the end. So I put in my information with Bandai. They get back to me and says we're reviewing. Now September 26th, the very next day, they get back to me again. Okay, great. They finally found my account. I'm home free. Okay, so now this is where my worst nightmare begins. So September 26th. We can't give you your account back because it's already being logged into. So this leads me to believe, you know, essentially one of two things. Essentially, this reputable company, or what I perceived at the time to be reputable, they either sold my account to make a quick buck. I can't say I had like a monster whale account, because I didn't. I still don't have a monster whale account. I have most units in the game. I mean, I would call it, you know, a relatively valuable account. And this one is better, the one I currently have, than my old account. But there's something about having a rank 1 account, you know, not to mention, like, I grinded rank. I grinded Zenny, so I had almost maximum Zenny. The, you know, 999 million Zenny. I think I was in the rank 450s, and I hadn't had my account for all that long. So, you know, I was grinding rank pretty consistently. It's just something about having a rank 1 is just, I don't know, man. It's just like the nostalgia, right? You're just like, I don't know, just like sentimental value, I suppose. So I'm not real thrilled, right, that, you know, I can't log into my account because it's already being logged into. So again, this is where the nightmare begins. So sort of the beginning of part 3 is I get a response. I had sent, in the meantime, in all of this time, I'm sending all of the responses from Bandai to this particular representative of the company that I've been talking to, this young woman I've mentioned. And basically she doesn't know. She's never had this happen before to her. Okay, well, that's all well and good, but now it's happened to me, so what can you do to help me? And basically she ran out of answers. And at this point, I had made a nasty post on Facebook because straight up, man, I was being petty because I was very upset. You know, that this game that I had invested mostly a whole lot of time into, again, the rank 1 account, you know, that sort of thing, just invested all this time into, is gone. Just gone out of thin air, because I trusted you with my account and you fucked up and you lost it. This is what happened. So that other option that could have happened to my account, so they either lost it or they sold it. So the other option is that they lost it somehow. In the process, they lost the transfer code, and someone somehow, you know, they were able to sort of acquire that information. I just don't put anything past some of these people who are, you know, technologically sort of gifted, and they understand the inner workings of the code and the programming and stuff. Look at like Trident and shit, you know, all that stuff that they can do. So I didn't put it past anyone. Just like, oh my God, they found the transfer code and they just started logging in. So she says, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna, you know, just sort of refer you to the CEO. And this is where the story sort of takes a turn for the better, right? So I get a hold of the CEO, or he gets a hold of me. And it is a he. I won't disclose his name, but it was a male name, so I'm going to go ahead and assume he identified as a male. Get a company. Essentially what he said is like, dude, like, I'm sorry. This hasn't happened to us since December of 2018, so it had been almost a full calendar year, and I imagine they have, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of customers they're doing this for. I imagine so. I mean, the game has 350 million downloads, essentially. At the point, it had been downloaded 300 million times. But even if it's dozens, I mean, still, like, they've had a lot of experience doing this, and it didn't happen to them very often, was his whole point. And I said, okay, you know, essentially at this point, I don't really have a choice but to trust you. Like, I trust whatever you're going to tell me is going to be the right move, because otherwise, like, their reputation is at stake. And, you know, I think clearly at this point, it seemed clear to me that they didn't intend for this to happen, so they didn't sell my account. What he had said had happened is essentially what he thought had happened is, again, I told you that they have to transfer the account to multiple mobile devices to get all the sales. So essentially that's what you're getting when you get these stone vendors, that's what you're getting. You're just getting sale prices, right? It's not like insanely crazy discounted, right? You're just getting sales. So essentially what he said is he sent it, one of his employees sent it to the wrong reseller, whatever that means, sent it to the wrong reseller. Okay. And he said it somehow So they logged into it. And so essentially someone that he trusted, you know, stabbed him in the back, you know, essentially, and cost him essentially a customer forever is what it cost him. You know, but cost him a little bit of a hit in his reputation. I told you I made a kind of a nasty Facebook post. I did end up taking it down because I felt at the time it was the right thing to do, and I was just mad. That was the thing, is I was mad. So anyway, I took that account, or I took the post down, and what he said to do in the meantime, he says, I'm going to try and figure this out, you know, internally investigate. And in the meantime, send in a brand new inquiry to Bandai. And I'm not real thrilled with the prospect of doing this. I told you it was quite an arduous process, but I went ahead and did it. And at this point, it's September 28th. I sent in this new order to Bandai. My first correspondence was June 16th. And September 19th, my account was lost. So I haven't been playing Dokkan this whole entire time. I'm missing logins. I'm missing a ton of stuff, you know, in the game. Like, I'm missing a ton of stuff, right? I missed a whole entire world tournament. I still, on this account even, I had missed a world tournament since I had the account. And even on this current account, which that's later in the story, you know, I still don't have the tech Go tanks, which I wish I had, but I don't have them. The reward unit. Now, maybe one day I'll pick them up on, you know, the actual banner, right, when they drop him on the banner, but we'll see, right? I'm not real stressed out about it. It's really just a trophy card anyway. So anyway, September 28th, I send in the second inquiry to Bandai. Basically, they confirmed their original investigation. They got back to me that very same day. No, I'm sorry, September 30th they got back to me. But in the meantime, I made a full list of every unit in that I knew I had with dupes and stuff like that, and I sent it to this guy, the CEO. And he said, okay, so the worst case scenario is that there's nothing Bandai can do. They can't find your account, or they can't do anything, and I will get you a new account, hopefully a better account than what you have. I said, well, I have to be okay with this. Like, at this point, my trust is just in his hands. So essentially what happened was September 30th, I get the message from Bandai saying, hey, yes, you know, we confirmed what we told you originally. I had sent them like 5 additional emails because I was so pissed, just operating on raw emotion. And eventually, finally, I get in touch with this guy again, and October 2nd, I'm finally able to log into Dokkan yet again. So went a solid, you know, 2.5 weeks without logging into Dokkan and being able to play it. And at the time, it was the only gacha game I played. It was really the only game I played. So, you know, I probably got a lot of productive things done, let's just be honest, not playing Dokkan. I think in the meantime, maybe I downloaded a JP account. So probably is probably what I did. I think I ended up re-rolling for Cooler in that time. So it wasn't the worst possible thing that could have happened. Essentially what happened was October 2nd, he gave me the transfer code. He says, hey, let me know when you're able to log on. If you're unfamiliar, you know, unless you trust someone or something, you usually have to have a middleman when you're selling accounts. And then they actually make a business out of it, of being the middleman. You know, there's these sort of whole entire databases of people trying to sell their accounts. Also, I'd never recommend anyone who wants to offer to sell you, or I'm sorry, purchase your account. Someone offered me, dude, someone offered me 10K or 15K for my account. When they start telling you crap like that, they're lying. Don't ever believe them if someone says they want to buy your account. That's why I've been very apprehensive to do a box showcase, because the first time I ever did that, I got like 100 inquiries if it was for sale. And I'm like, no, it ain't for sale. No, not for sale. Sorry, not for sale. No, I make content. It's not for sale. And so I had to basically fend them off with a stick. So anyway, guys, I don't need to, you know, really go much further into detail, but essentially October 2nd, I get this account, this current account that you're seeing, the account that I make gameplay on. It's got a lot less Zenny, but it's not like a huge deal. The rank was actually lower, but it was a much older account, so I was okay with it. In the end, I had to be, because it was the only choice I had. But the gentleman, the CEO of this company, he did end up making it right, and that is sort of the happy ending to this story. But my one sort of word of advice is it is getting close, very, very close to the anniversary, and a lot of you are going to be tempted to maybe hit up a stone vendor. Hey, I need some stones real quick before the ante. You know, the 5-year ante's coming. I want those blue fusions, right? I would just recommend, if you purchase stones, just do it through the in-game shop. And if you run out of sales, just call it, man. Just call it. Just you know, take it as a loss, or if you're free to play, we should be getting roughly 850 stones-ish. You know, all things, you know, depending, it's going to depend on top grossing and things of that nature. I can't make any guarantees, but I would wager it's going to be about that many stones. That's how much, that's how many stones they got on JP. But as tempting as it may be to hit up a stone vendor, I hope you use this story and my experience to just sort of, you know, like I said, just let this be a cautionary tale. I can't tell you explicitly, don't do it. But I'm going to go ahead and strongly recommend, just go through the in-game shop if that's your thing. You know, or if you're free to play, stay free to play, for sure. That's the #1 option, right? But that is the video, guys. Go ahead and slap a like and leave me a hashtag RIP for my original account. Someone has an account with, you know, a copy of the LR Androids with 2 dupes in them, unless they've pulled them more. You know, for all I know, it's just sitting in cyber wasteland. You know what I mean? I don't know what, I'll probably never find out what happened to that original account. But of course, consider subscribing if you are new. I love you guys, and thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. Before I go, we'll check and see how many more medals I need to actually get this guy to LR. You need 777. And I'm at 527, so solid 250 left is actually not too bad. But that's the video, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.